Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring kind of a really interesting area, Indian law.
Oh.
The Bhartiya Nyay Sanhita.
Yeah.
Specifically the sections that deal with military offenses.
Interesting.
So think of it kind of as a crash course.
Okay.
In what the Indian Army, the Navy, and the Air Force absolutely cannot stand for.
It is fascinating, isn't it? I mean, these laws don't just outline offenses. They offer a glimpse into, I guess, the core values and priorities of the armed forces.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
The first thing that really grabbed my attention was mutiny. Sections 159 and 160
Okay.
of the BNS
Yeah.
really hit hard on this idea of abetting mutiny.
Yeah.
Essentially encouraging or supporting rebellion against military authority.
And the potential consequences are severe. I mean, even the death penalty
Yeah.
is on the table if the abetted mutiny actually takes place.
Right.
You know, and this echoes historical precedent where even seemingly minor mutinies have had the power to topple governments and reshape nations. India clearly understands the weight of this threat
Yeah.
to the integrity and the obedience of its armed forces.
It's a stark reminder of how crucial obedience is in a military context.
It is.
But what happens when that obedience is challenged in less dramatic ways?
Right.
Let's talk about offenses like assault on superior officers,
Okay.
covered in sections 161 and 162.
These sections emphasize the importance of maintaining a clear chain of command.
Yeah.
Imagine the chaos if soldiers could attack their commanders without consequence.
Oh, yeah.
The BNS draws a clear line, and again, the punishment escalates if the abetted assault actually takes place.
So the law recognizes that actions have consequences.
Yes.
And the punishment fits the severity of the outcome.
Right.
It's not just black and white.
Right.
There are these different levels of responsibility.
Exactly. It's about accountability,
Yeah.
which is a cornerstone of any effective military force.
For sure.
But, you know, it's not always straightforward.
Okay.
Take desertion, for instance, addressed in sections 163 and 164.
Right. Going AWOL.
Yeah.
The BNS makes it clear that encouraging or helping someone desert
Yes.
is also a crime.
It is, but there's a fascinating caveat here.
Okay.
The deserter's spouse
Okay.
is specifically exempt from punishment for harboring them.
So that raises some interesting questions about where the line is drawn.
It does.
At what point does loyalty to family supersede loyalty to the nation?
Yeah.
Does this create a potential loophole?
These are such complex questions
Yeah.
with no easy answers.
For sure.
You know, it speaks to the human element woven into these laws.
Oh, okay.
An acknowledgement that emotions and relationships can play a role even in the strictly regulated world of the military.
Okay. So hiding a deserter in your basement
Right.
might be okay if they're your spouse,
Yeah,
but don't even think about stashing them on your merchant vessel.
that's right.
Section 165 of the BNS
Yeah.
lays down the law.
Uh-huh.
If a deserter is found on board a ship,
Right.
the master or person in charge faces penalties, even if they weren't aware
Yeah.
of the deserter's presence.
So there's an expectation of responsibility there.
Yeah, a need for due diligence.
Yes.
You can't just plead ignorance
Right.
when you're in command.
Precisely.
It speaks to the level of accountability
Yes.
expected within the armed forces,
Right.
even extending to civilian vessels.
Right, right.
So we've talked about mutiny, assault, and desertion.
Yes.
What other challenges to military order does the BNS address?
Well, there's insubordination,
Okay.
essentially, disobedience to lawful orders.
Okay.
Section 166 deals specifically with abetting acts of insubordination.
So it's similar to mutiny, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Refusing to follow a specific order.
Right.
Or encouraging others to do the same.
Exactly. Disrupting the chain of command, undermining authority,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't escalate to a full-blown mutiny.
Right. And of course, abetting such actions
Yeah.
has its own set of consequences.
Absolutely. The BNS makes it clear that even seemingly minor acts of disobedience can have serious repercussions.
It's a lot to take in. Are there any offenses in this section of the BNS that are a bit less intense?
Well, there's one that might seem lighter at first glance.
Okay.
Section 168, which deals with impersonating a soldier.
So no more plain dress up on Halloween unless you want to risk a fine or even jail time.
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
The law specifically addresses the intention
Okay.
to deceive others into believing you are a soldier for personal gain.
So just rocking a cool military-style jacket wouldn't land you in trouble?
Probably not. The law focuses on protecting the integrity of the armed forces, preventing people from exploiting their status for personal gain.
It makes you think about all the nuanced ways the law has to adapt
It does.
to address potential issues, especially with something as important as maintaining the integrity of the armed forces.
It really does, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We've only just begun to explore the complexities of military law in India.
There's so much more to unpack, right?
We're back and ready to dive even deeper into this world of military offenses as defined by the Bhartiya Nyay Sanhita.
Okay.
We've already touched on some pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
Mutiny, desertion, even the unique exemption for a deserter's spouse.
It's a fascinating landscape, isn't it?
It is.
Each section of the BNS not only, lays out the law, but also reveals a bit more about the underlying philosophy, I guess, of military justice in India.
It's like we're piecing together this puzzle, one offense at a time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the bigger picture for a minute.
Okay.
Why are these laws structured the way they are? What's the overarching goal?
At its core, the BNS aims to maintain order and discipline within the armed forces.
Okay.
Remember, these are hierarchical organizations where following orders swiftly and without question is paramount.
Right.
Especially in those high-stakes situations.
It's easy to see how even a small crack in that discipline could have a ripple effect.
Yes.
Potentially undermining the entire structure. Exactly, and that's where the BNS comes in.
Okay.
It creates this framework of accountability and consequences. It ensures that everyone understands the boundaries and the potential repercussions of crossing those boundaries.
But it's not just about blind obedience, right?
No.
These laws also have a vital role to play in protecting national security.
Absolutely. Think about the offenses that we've discussed so far. Mutiny, desertion, insubordination.
Yeah.
Each one has the potential to cripple a nation's defense capabilities.
Wow.
The BNS recognizes this threat and establishes these strict penalties to deter such actions.
It's a stark reminder that the stakes are incredibly high.
They are.
In a military context.
Yeah.
A single act of disobedience could have far-reaching consequences for the entire country.
Precisely.
Wow.
These laws safeguard not only the integrity of the armed forces, but also the safety and security of the nation as a whole.
It's a weighty responsibility.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the why behind these laws.
Yes.
Maintaining order, protecting national security.
Right.
But I'm curious about how are these laws actually applied in real-life situations?
Well, it's important to remember that the BNS isn't just some theoretical document.
Okay.
It has real-world teeth.
Yeah.
Any soldier contemplating desertion or disobeying an order knows they're facing serious consequences, potentially imprisonment or even death.
That's a sobering thought.
It is.
It really underscores the weight of these offenses.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder, how do these laws balance the need for discipline with the rights of individual soldiers?
That's a crucial question, and it speaks to the heart of military justice.
Yeah.
While discipline is essential, the law also recognizes that soldiers are individuals with rights and protections.
So there are safeguards in place to prevent abuse or unfair treatment.
Absolutely. The BNS outlines clear procedures for investigations, trials, and appeals.
Okay.
And there's a separate system of military courts with their own legal frameworks. Right. Specifically designed to handle cases related to the BNS.
So it's not just a matter of commanders handing down punishments as they see fit.
Yeah.
There's this whole legal process involved.
Exactly. There are checks and balances to ensure fairness and impartiality.
Okay.
Soldiers accused of offenses under the BNS have the right to legal representation and a fair trial.
Right.
Just like civilians.
That's reassuring to hear.
It is.
It means that even within the strict structure of the military, individual rights are still recognized and protected.
Precisely. It's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah.
Maintaining discipline while upholding individual rights. But it's a vital one for a just and effective military system.
We've covered so much ground already.
We have.
But there's still so much more to explore.
I know.
The complexities of military law in India are truly fascinating.
I agree. And I think it's important to remember that this area of law is constantly evolving.
Oh, okay.
As technology changes and new challenges arise, the BNS will need to adapt.
Yeah.
To stay relevant and effective.
That's a great point.
It is.
We're living in a time of rapid technological advancement.
We are.
And the military is at the forefront of that change.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how these laws will address emerging threats like cyber warfare
Right.
or the use of autonomous weapons.
Those are exactly the kinds of questions legal experts are grappling with right now.
Wow.
Cyber warfare, for instance, presents these unique challenges.
Yeah.
How do you define an act of aggression in a virtual space? What constitutes insubordination when you're dealing with AI commanders?
It's mind-boggling. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does.
But these are real-world issues that the law will need to address.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The law can't afford to lag behind.
Right.
It needs to keep pace with these technological advancements
Yeah.
to ensure accountability and protect individuals and society as a whole.
This deep dive has really been an eye-opener for me.
It has been.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective
Yeah.
on the challenges and complexities of military law.
I agree. And I think we've only just scratched the surface.
I think so, too.
There's so much more to uncover, so
Yeah.
many more fascinating nuances to explore.
Let's take another quick pause to gather our thoughts. When we come back,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up our exploration of military offenses in the Bhartiya Nyay Sanhita with some final thoughts and reflections. We're back for the final stretch of our deep dive into the Bhartiya Nyay Sanhita's approach to military offenses.
Okay.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
We've covered everything from mutiny and desertion to the fascinating nuances of insubordination and impersonation.
Right.
We even ventured into that uncharted territory of cyber warfare and AI commanders.
It is remarkable how much ground we've covered.
It is.
And, with each section of the BNS we've examined, we've gained a deeper understanding of this delicate balance between maintaining military discipline and upholding individual rights.
It's like we've been peeling back layers of an onion, revealing more complexity and nuance with every layer.
Yeah.
So for this last part, I'd love to kind of take a step back and reflect on some of the broader implications of what we've learned.
Okay.
What are the big takeaways, the things that really stuck with you?
Well, one of the most striking aspects for me has been the emphasis on the unique nature of military service.
Okay.
It's not just another job. It's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a profound responsibility to defend the nation, often at great personal risk.
Yeah.
And the BNS reflects this
Okay.
by imposing those stricter penalties for offenses that could jeopardize national security or undermine the chain of command.
It makes you realize the immense pressure and challenges that soldiers face on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
They operate within a system that demands absolute obedience and loyalty, where even a small misstep can have serious consequences.
Exactly. It's a high-stakes environment.
It is.
Where the consequences of failure can be devastating.
Wow.
And that's why it's so crucial to have this robust legal framework like the BNS in place.
Right.
It not only provides these clear guidelines and boundaries,
Right.
but it also serves as a deterrent against actions that could undermine the integrity and effectiveness of the armed forces.
But as we've discussed, it's not just about blind obedience.
No.
The law also recognizes that soldiers are individuals with rights and protection.
Absolutely.
The BNS outlines these procedures for investigations, trials, and appeals, ensuring that those accused of offenses are afforded due process and a fair hearing.
Yes, it's a testament to the fact that even within the strict confines of military law, individual rights must be respected.
Right.
The BNS strives to achieve that balance between maintaining order and upholding justice. It's not a perfect system, of course.
Of course not.
But it's a constantly evolving one, adapting to the changing realities of warfare and the complexities of modern society.
And that brings us to another key takeaway.
Yeah.
The evolving nature of warfare itself.
Right.
With technology rapidly changing the landscape of conflict,
It is.
the BNS faces these new and unprecedented challenges. Cyber warfare, drone strikes, autonomous weapons.
Yes.
These are all relatively new developments
They are.
that blur the lines of traditional warfare and raise these complex legal and ethical questions.
We've only just begun to grapple with the implications of these advancements. How do you apply existing laws to offenses committed in a virtual space?
Right.
What constitutes insubordination when you're dealing with an AI commander?
Yeah.
These are questions that legal experts are actively exploring. And the BNS will need to adapt to address these emerging threats.
It's fascinating.
It is.
And a little bit daunting.
You know, to think about the future of warfare and the role of law in shaping that future.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that the BNS isn't this static document.
No.
It's a living, breathing entity that must constantly evolve to keep pace with the changing world.
And that evolution requires this ongoing dialogue and debate.
Yeah.
We need to be asking those tough questions, considering different perspectives, challenging assumptions.
For sure.
Only through open and critical engagement with these issues.
Right.
Can we ensure that the BNS remains relevant, effective, and just in the face of new and evolving threats?
It's been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of the complexities of military law in India.
I agree.
It's a fascinating field, and I'm sure our listeners are walking away with a newfound appreciation for the intricacies of the Bhartiya Nyay Sanhita.
I couldn't agree more. We've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But hopefully this deep dive has sparked some curiosity.
And a desire to learn more.
Absolutely.
It's a subject that deserves our attention.
Yeah.
As it touches upon those fundamental questions of duty, loyalty, justice, and the evolving nature of conflict in the 21st century.
As we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Given the rapid pace of technological advancement and the increasing complexities of warfare, what new challenges do you foresee for military law in the years to come? How will the BNS need to adapt to ensure it remains a cornerstone of a just and effective military system?
That's an excellent question, and one that we all need to be pondering.
For sure.
The future of warfare is uncertain.
Right.
But one thing is clear. The law will play a vital role in shaping that future.
Absolutely.
It's up to us to engage in those thoughtful and informed discussions to ensure that the BNS continues to serve its purpose. Upholding justice, maintaining order, and safeguarding the nation.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.